You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it.
I have two words for you: predator drones. You will never see it coming.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues. Here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David and Gretchen will be talking about the President's Supreme Court nominee, how wealthy liberals like George Soros are trying to buy the election, what's happened to our national security, and the festering race problem in the United States. And you won't want to miss segment 6 when we'll be looking at our ever-diminishing right to privacy. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So be sure to give us a call at 312-642-5600 or go to Facebook and like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
The death of Antonin Scalia has left the Supreme Court with an even 4-4 split vote over the issue of the Second Amendment. Obama's current pick, Merrick Garland, has a judicial record that underscores his total disregard for the fundamental individual right to keep and bear arms. Garland, currently the Chief Judge of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, was nominated for that spot by Bill Clinton. Previously, he was Deputy Assistant Attorney General in the Criminal Division of the Clinton Justice Department. If his name rings a bell, it's probably because he supervised the prosecutions of Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols in the Oklahoma City bombing case. The Chicago Tribune touted Merrick as a moderate, a gift, if you will, that the Republicans should seize. It gushed about how the Chicago-born Merrick is so smart and so fair, and everyone in high school loved him. They may call him a moderate, but it's worth noting Obama's two Supreme Court appointees, Elena Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor, have clearly reflected Obama's far-left agenda. Both the NRA and the Judicial Crisis Network, a group run by a former law clerk for Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, agree that Garland is not a friend of the Second Amendment. According to the latter's organization chief counsel, Carrie Severino, Garland's judicial record, and I quote, leads to the conclusion that he would vote to reverse one of Justice Scalia's most important opinions, D.C. versus Heller. It was the Heller decision that affirmed the Second Amendment confers an individual right to keep and bear arms. Then Senator Barack Obama didn't sign the brief and publicly declared he backed the D.C. gun ban and opposed all laws allowing concealed carry. Over 7 years as president, Obama systematically, using both legal and illegal methods, working with Congress or bypassing it completely through executive order, did everything in his power to disarm John Q. Public. It can be said that one of the major, if not the major goals of his administration has been total disarmament of the American public. Republicans in Congress and state legislatures have denounced Obama's anti-Second Amendment executive actions, but truth be told, the Republicans collectively don't have the backbone of a jellyfish. Having ascended to the reins of power in the last election based upon how they would ride into Washington on great white horses carrying broad swords, the fact is they're fundamentally indistinguishable from their Democratic predecessors. Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid, arrogant as ever, is betting, and I quote, the GOP is already on its way to caving on Merrick Garland, unquote. If Merrick Garland is appointed to the highest court in the land, tipping the balance of power to liberal ideology, there is no guarantee that the highest court will uphold any part of the Constitution. It's now up to Republicans to reject Garland and to force Obama to find another candidate or delay the appointment until a new president is in the White House. even Obama acknowledged the nomination during a presidential election year is controversial. And I quote him, "I have recognized that we have entered the political season," Obama said. "I know the Republicans will point to Democrats that have made it hard for Republicans to get their nominations confirmed. And they're not wrong about that. But I have fulfilled my constitutional duty. Now it's time for the Senate to do theirs," unquote. Well, I agree with the president on this one. The Republicans should follow the Biden rule, referring to then-Senator Joe Biden's argument against the Senate giving a Republican president's nomination any consideration during a presidential election year. Mr. President, you haven't abided by the Constitution for 7 years, and now you want to take the high road? You'd have to hire a group of Sherpas to help you carry all that baggage so you could climb high enough to even see the high road. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week. With a few stutters and hiccups in there.
Yes.
It's been a long day.
I'm gobsmacked.
It's been a long day.
Yes, it has been.
This guy would be bad news.
Yes.
Seriously bad news.
Well, for Second Amendment, no doubt. Yeah. And unfortunately, we got an email from the NRA this week saying, email your senators and tell them, not to have hearings and not to, vote to approve this person or confirm this person. But our senators are both in the bag for Obama pretty much all the time. So I'm not really sure how that would help.
I don't think it will at all. I don't think it will at all. You're listening on Target Radio. This is AM560 The Answer. Give us a call at 312-642-5600. The question in this segment really is the Democrats keep saying what you're doing is wrong, it'll destroy the fabric, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at their history, they're the ones that have been doing this all along.
They're the ones that have historically said we're not gonna confirm somebody in an election year.
Exactly.
And the Democrats did it even worse. It was 19 months away from inauguration. We're way closer than that. And they said they wouldn't. I think it was Schumer.
It was W.
It was Chuck Schumer who it was 19 months away from inauguration, and they're like, "Nah, I don't think we're going to do that."
Here's a classic Schumer quote on that very issue.
Yes.
They must prove by actions, not words, that they are in the mainstream rather than we have to prove that they are not, he said at the time. And he made no bones about it. He said, when you go right off the bat and say, I don't care who he nominates, I'm going to oppose him, that's not going to fly. That's what Schumer said.
Right.
This is the guy who's now saying we're doing the wrong thing.
It was 2007 that he said the other thing, and it was like yesterday that he said, that he said when you go right off the bat and say, I don't care who he nominates, I'm going to oppose him, So, the Democrats, as I've said many times, are lousy with double standards.
I don't know if lousy. I think they're resplendent with them.
Well, that's what lousy means.
They bubble over the top.
In the vernacular.
Yeah, well, I'm not a vernacular kind of guy. Oh, wait, that's not right. I am, and you're not. Yeah.
You are,
I am. It was, this goes back to 1960.
Yes.
When the Democratic-controlled Senate, it was Eisenhower at the time, actually passed a resolution that said, expressing the sense of the Senate that the president should not make recess appointments to the Supreme Court except to prevent or end a breakdown in the administration of the court's business, unquote, which meant you can't do it.
Right.
Now, the interesting thing, politics is a game. It really is.
Of course.
It's a game of brinksmanship. I just read this for the first time today, and this just blows me away. So that the president, so they block him, and I'm not disagreeing with them doing this,
right.
But so that they block the president.
Actually.
Yeah. What they do is because they're supposed to be on recess, but he can make an appointment in recess.
Right.
He says
and they don't
won't.
want that.
He says I won't, but he will.
Right.
So they meet for 1 minute. They gavel in for 1 minute every day. The Senate is now convened. Smack.
Bang.
Smack.
Okay.
And they
We're
go
adjourned.
home. Yeah. That's and you know what?
But the thing about that is they have to stay in Washington. at least they have to have quorum. So
Yeah.
a certain number would have to stay in Washington so that they can do that.
I'm betting
So they can't go on.
rotate.
They can't. Right. I mean, they can't like just go on vacation, and they can't go back to their districts to have town halls and meetings with their constituents. So it does restrict them from doing a lot of the other things they would like to do.
These are
But
big stakes.
They're more interested in blocking a Supreme Court nominee than they are in doing pretty much anything else right now.
I think if they were replacing Kagan or Sotomayor or something, they'd probably be a little looser because it wouldn't. But you're literally talking about the balance of the Supreme Court.
Well, and you're also talking about the most conservative justice was Scalia.
All right, we're going to be back. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, and we're going to talk about what's happening to our national security when we come back with more on Target Radio. And you're listening to AM560 The Answer.
How can you to there? We've got the answer from the North States Steel Traffic Center.
Taking a look at traffic on the inbound Bishop Ford still.
You know, if Trump's the nominee, Republicans lose that issue, right?
All lanes have been
Lose what?
Lose the Supreme Court argument.
But you're backing up to
If the argument is that you should be waiting for the next president, and Trump is the nominee, you lose a lot of support for the whole wait for the next president argument. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Here, George, here's the thing. If you're a Republican,
Yeah.
and you don't like Donald Trump,
Right.
so you like Cruz. All right. So,
Never.
but here's that point. And Trump wins it. What? You're going to let the Hildebeest get elected? You're going to abstain your vote so that she gets elected and the entire fucking country goes down the toilet?
I think at this point, yes.
No.
I think my vote probably goes to John McAfee, who will be on the ballot here, by the way, just to make a statement.
Well, they got.
And to be honest here, okay, let's see. At the end of 4 years, it's going to be a shit show for 4 years. If it's Hillary versus Donald Trump, either way, it's going to be a shit show for 4 years. That's a given. At the end of that 4 years, what situation do you have to recover from better? I'll get that during the half-hour break. The shift reverted to the previous show, which is why you're seeing the previous show get down to business.
But the point is they could literally do away with the Second Amendment.
See, here's the thing. I'm thinking long-term, okay?
I'm thinking
I think any attempt to do away with the Second Amendment is going to be met with the Second Amendment. So
Maybe.
I'm really not so scared about that.
Maybe,
okay?
maybe not.
I'm thinking in 4 years, it's going to be much easier to recover by running somebody against Hillary than it will be to be running against an incumbent Trump.
Well,
I think it will be much easier to field
I would have thought that until
conservative candidate against the other party as opposed to an infight to try to take down an incumbent president.
I had more faith in that philosophy until these guys in Oregon came along. And you remember I said this the very first day. I go, what is the point of what they're doing?
Right.
It's not going to end well, and no one's going to give a damn.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened.
Right.
Nobody gave a damn,
and
a guy got killed. And then now they're collecting people, rounding them up, putting them in jail.
Yeah.
If you're going to, I get taking a stand. I get that.
Yeah.
But it's got to be meaningful.
Yeah, my stand will be at my front door.
Right, or down the street,
preferably
whatever.
not, but yeah.
Right. But to go in the middle of nowhere.
Well, just for something symbolic, it was sparking anger with idiots.
And it didn't work.
Yeah. Half minute.
To settle people's tummies with last word humor.
And the ever so popular Mind Trap, popular with the Kremlin and VP.
Not to mention politically incorrect commentary.
And fascinating and controversial guests.
So join us at midnight Sunday on The Last Word.
The fastest hour of radio on the dial.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more On Target Radio. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. Should they stonewall on the president's candidate for the Supreme Court? Four Democratic senators have been very silent on this subject. And Joe Donnelly of Indiana, Heidi Heitkamp in North Dakota, Joe Manchin, West Virginia, whose name probably rings a bell to people he's been involved in Second Amendment issues, and John Tester of Montana, they all voted, against Obama in 2013 when he tried to overhaul the gun laws at that time. I'm not 100% certain that, the problem is if we lost the Senate,
right,
it'd be one thing to lose the presidency. That's bad enough.
Right.
But if we lost the Senate,
now we're really screwed.
Yeah, then we're up the creek without a paddle.
But as you say, there's at least 4 pro-gun Democrats who are likely to, have those feelings about a Supreme Court nominee.
Do you know the number? We don't have with those 4. Would we veto proof with those 4?
No.
Still
we have 60 if you count Kirk, and but I'm Ching.
Yeah.
And then with those Democrats, we have 64. So we're 3 votes short of a veto-proof majority. Yeah. But we're not. But veto doesn't come into play with Senate confirmations.
No. I'm thinking in terms of the Hildebeest and whatever might come along.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as I know, Senate confirmation is just majority because it doesn't go through the House. It's
right.
just
it's
just
the Senate advising consent.
Yeah.
And we're advising them not to consent.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. See, George is more optimistic about how this would go. George is...
well, I wouldn't exactly call that optimism, what he said.
he says he's just resigned to it. His point about if the Hildebeest got elected, 4 years of her, I think most people will be ready to pull the plug.
Well, I hope so, but we thought that with Obama too. So
that's true.
As you say, never overestimate the intelligence of the American public.
It is true, and what scared me more than anything, I see how he got elected the first time.
Sure.
Okay, I get that.
Absolutely.
He's
no
good
question.
on the stump. He's good at
no
that.
question.
The second time is scary.
The second time is truly frightening, and I have said all along, I think there's a large measure of fraud involved with his second
It probably is.
election.
But it would be the first time in history of
that never happened before.
Would never happen.
They just came up with those methods of how to commit vote fraud.
Yeah. You're listening on Target Radio. This is AM560 The Answer. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. Do we, Obama is asking for a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Now,
yeah, he says that. I don't think he's going to like the answer.
Well, but the question is he's nobody's fool. The question is, has he counted noses? Maybe he knows something we don't know.
Well, that's always a possibility. He lives in Washington and I don't. So.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how that'll work out. But I from my reaction is, I wouldn't put it forward. I wouldn't let him walk out.
I wouldn't either. And there have been a couple. I don't remember their names off the top of my head, but I read an article about there's 2 Republicans who have agreed to meet privately with Garland and talk with him, ask him questions.
Wasn't McConnell one of them?
No.
No?
Absolutely not. They were outliers. It was Kelly Ayotte and somebody else, and some old dude. And
well, that's 95% of the Senate.
Yeah, I know. Especially when you're talking about Republicans. And somebody else said even meeting with him privately is caving. Basically, it should be out of the question. Don't talk to him. Don't make eye contact. That kind of thing.
Don't get in the elevator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do not get in that elevator. So yeah, I think that I don't think that they're going to even
chance of it.
Yeah, I don't think they're even going to talk to him, let alone have a vote.
Well, the Democrats are pulling out the stops. Soros is committing $13 million of his own money to try and recruit principally Latinos to vote Democrat. it's interesting. They're talking about contacting 400,000 new Democratic voters.
Oh no, that's what they want to net.
That's what I'm saying.
You're talking about contacting. That's what they hope to actually drive to the polls.
Right. Okay. Contact. I'm thinking, get them in.
Oh,
however you want, whatever you want to call it. But
GOTV.
Yeah, they want them to. Yeah, they want them to show up. Yeah.
Right.
These guys, and how many times have I said, if you make $20 billion, more power to you. I don't have a problem with that. Make whatever you can make. This guy, I think I'm taking an exception to. He's throwing money around like he's a drunken sailor.
Yeah, I once saw the joke, drunken sailor takes exception to that because even drunken sailors stop when they run out of money.
Exactly. Well, that's it. Yeah.
Well, this guy's never going to run out of money, so he never has to stop.
Probably not. We've got Patrick on Schaumburg on the line. Patrick, how are you doing this evening? Okay.
And I never have. And after the primary, when Kirk got 70% of the Republican vote, I knew that they're more foolish than you may think. And I think when I saw that, I said, there's no hope. 70% of registered Republicans vote for Mark Kirk, and you expect to win a national election. I think it's over.
That is a little scary, isn't it, Patrick?
And you wonder who is this 70%. And James Martyr didn't have a lot of money. I understand all that, but boy, oh boy, anyone who is paying attention to vote for Mark Kirk as a Republican. And now I have to live with Senator Tammy Duckworth, and life's tough.
I hate to even say this, but I think the average voter today, they read whatever's in the paper, they see on the news, and they don't take the time to look into this stuff. I really think that. I think that there's this apathy, and there's this sense my vote doesn't count.
If you're apathetic, you're smart.
Well, yeah.
If you're apathetic, you know what's going on, and you just went home.
Yeah.
But
I think if you're despondent, you're smart.
Yeah, but people who actually went out and voted, got up in the morning and voted for Mark Kirk, well, stay in bed.
Yeah, I hear you.
We'll see you later. Bye.
Thanks for the call, Patrick.
Bye.
And Dennis from Crystal Lake has some insight too about the Republicans. Dennis, you have a very uplifting feeling about Republicans in the Senate, don't you?
Oh yeah, real uplifting feeling. Hey, I'll tell you what. Since day one, Obama with his little buddy in Connecticut and that cop, and all the lawlessness in between. If the Republicans think that if they let a vote on the floor that they're going to hold the line and have a spine, they're crazy.
I agree.
And I'll tell you what, if they let him have the vote, even if they just let him have the vote and he gets voted down, I'll tell you what, there needs to be, short of a physical revolution, at least an electoral revolution. Get all these old kooks out, get all these spineless worms out. You don't see the Democrats, even as crazy policies as they are, you don't see them cave on each other. They stick together, and that's what the Republicans do. Who cares if you're called a racist? If you know you're not a racist, just do what Trump does. Say shut up.
Yeah. No, and you know what, Dennis, you're right, because Harry Reid is a lot stronger than people give him credit for.
Yes.
He keeps a tight fist over those people.
Oh, he's basically a communist leader. I mean, he gets the pulpit together. And they don't stray one way or the other, because he'll rein them in and he'll throw them down in a dungeon somewhere and have them watch a butterfly in a jar.
That's you know what? Where's our jar? Hey, I appreciate you calling, Dennis. And
take it easy, guys.
All right, you
Thank
take care. You know what? He's right. I've lost faith in the Republicans in the Congress.
Oh. Absolutely. Turns out I counted wrong. We have 54 Republican senators.
54, and
then plus 4 would be 58.
And then 4 would be 58. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at 102,
but that's still...
right? Doesn't Puerto Rico, don't they have?
According to Ed,
57?
He doesn't mention...
67. Yeah. All right, well, we got to take another break, and we're going to be back after a few messages. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about... we've got a national security issue going on here, and I think we need to talk a little bit about that. So we'll be back with more On Target Radio. And you're listening to AM560, The Answer.
Republicans ask, what works, what doesn't work. Republicans appeal to your head.
Guy before.
I didn't either.
He
But
didn't seem familiar.
they were good.
Yeah. What would make me laugh so hard I would pee myself is if somebody called and said, "Long time listener, first time caller." I would pee. Well, that was a line from Grosse Pointe Blank.
Right.
Which is
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
But you know what? You hear that on talk shows all the time.
People say it all the time, right?
What's that?
Long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah.
Well, that's older than you.
I know.
Oh, so I thought it would come up on here. Well, wonders never fucking cease. Look at this. He's on this monitor, and it works on that one.
Well, it's the same. It's the same computer. Yeah, sorry about that.
Nice bitch in any guy.
Well, it reset on me, and it was the same time my editor froze.
We still knew what he was saying. But
We still
I think the editor
I said
is
you
what
knew what he
screwed
was saying.
everything
We
up.
just missed the first 7 minutes.
Yeah. And I stumbled over two things in my monologue because my head was somewhere else. So, this isn't the one we put on the reel. You know what I'm saying? This is
No,
not it.
it's not. It's definitely not. Now
Which is a
we're-
shame because those are good calls.
Now we're both tired, and I'm not even wearing
Your
makeup.
reel should be very short. So, yeah, that would be good. I mean, your reel should be... Nobody's listening to more than 90 seconds of anything you give them anyway.
And that's
You wanna
including
give them
the show.
6 to 8 seconds of individual things. And just edit the living crap out of it. Just like
Hi, you're listening to... Tomorrow morning we're going to... Yesterday afternoon, Gretchen and I, we went out like...
All right, facetious Maximus, listen. You know,
There
some
you
of
go.
us have to make our own demos all the time.
How many people are watching? Look at that.
I still say that the comment about the turtle Cerberuses must be on the reel.
Oh, I've forgotten about that. I forgot all about that.
That was freaking classic.
Turtles, yeah.
And you missed it.
I missed it when you
missed
when
it
you
in
did
real
it.
time.
Yeah. Did you hear that?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that was before Jim was even.
But
on
he
our
said he's been
radar.
listening.
Oh, okay.
Well, I've been listening. But
It was
it's been a
back when Clive and Bundy was having that fight with the feds, and they were saying part of the reason why they didn't want him grazing on that land is some kind of turtle habitat, some sand tortoise or some shit. And I said, we had an article that said, that actually had been cleared up like years ago. They literally did make places for the turtles to mate, and it had worked, and they had proliferated, and now there's plenty of these turtles, and we don't have to worry about the turtles anymore.
They were very
I always found it incredibly funny.
They were very
that
concerned about the turtles.
They were.
Cattle grazing on land because of the turtles, and this is the land that they exploded umpteen number of atomic bombs on. It's like the fallout.
See, you get bogged down. You get bogged down in needless detail. You know what I'm saying? You'd never make a good liberal.
No, I know too much actual science and math. All right, we're back up and running.
Long-range rifle to 600 yards is the most comprehensive Illinois concealed
La-da-dee-dee-dee.
radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Firearm for personal protection.
Gretchen Grits.
Firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive
I like grits.
designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm,
I make a
ammunition,
grit
holster,
souffle that's
glass
to
notebook,
die
and much
for.
are provided. Safer USA, the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate.
You will die after eating, or is to die
No, it's to die for. You want to die to get me to make
My mom had lied to me, and this is actually the dust of my opponent's impaled bones. So I lost interest.
I don't remember when we started saying it, but at some point, a year or two ago, my mom and I started. Whenever somebody's really nice, we say they're sweeter than sweet tea.
Sweeter than sweet tea. Well, honey.
You actually had the good accent there.
Why, sweetheart, that gap in your teeth is so handy you could eat the guts out of a pumpkin through a picket fence.
Whatever the hell that means.
Oh, man. Southern women
have guaranteed for life with no market exposure. Call me at 630-777-7955. That's 630-777-7955. You've worked hard to build your wealth. I work hard to protect it. 630-777-7955.
Insurance products may be presented and guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the insurance company represented. Securities offered through ProEquities Inc., a registered broker-dealer and member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Harvest Investment Services LLC, a registered investment advisor. Taboda and Associates and Harvest Investment Services LLC are independent of ProEquities Inc.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
Over a half century ago, a respected firearms store opened. It started as a hobby for Mike Schrank and has now served generations of customers. Schrank's Smoke and Gun retains a family atmosphere and now carries the largest selection of new, used, and consignment firearms in Lake County. From pistols, rifles, and shotguns to hard-to-find calibers, collectibles, and older functioning hunting rifles. You'll also find full gunsmith services from simple detail cleaning to complete rebuilds. Whether you're thinking about your first firearm in a FOID card or looking to add to your collection, visit Schrank's Smoke and Gun. If you have a firearm to sell, their recent sale was so successful they need your firearms. And if you love cigars, you'll find your favorites in Schrank's Humidor, along with a broad selection of pipes and tobacco. Visit smoke, the letter N, gun.org, or call 847-662-4034. Schrank's Smoke and Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964. Mm-hmm. That's 847-662-4034.
That's the way to do it, bro.
Nicely done.
There you go. And I when I was there, I rode home smoking my favorite cigar. It was nice. Very nice. A nice place. It's too bad they're not closer. I mean,
it's a bit of a drive.
From where we live, it's,
it's
a
bit of a drive.
You'd have to take a flight. But, yeah. I want to get into this national security issue, but there's a line that comes out of this thing about, Soros wanting to fund the stuff, and it says, this effort to recruit people. The effort comes amid signs of a Democratic enthusiasm gap that has worried some of the party's leading strategists, while Republican voters are turning out in droves, often to vote for Mr. Trump. Millions of Democratic voters have sat out the party's primary between Hillary Clinton and Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. I just thought that was a really kind of funny thing, the enthusiasm gap.
Yes.
Couldn't be because Hillary Clinton is a crook and Bernie Sanders is a communist nutball.
No, that can't be it.
Yeah, can't be that at all. You know what? It really does amaze me. This isn't liberalism anymore. I mean, this is well beyond liberalism.
Oh, no. This is full-on socialism.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised that they have a base left. I really am.
Yeah. Soros actually is quoted as saying, the intense anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim rhetoric that has been fueled by the Republican primary is deeply offensive. It is harmful to our democracy and to our national interests. No, it's the illegal immigrants and the Muslims that are harmful to our democracy and our national interests.
I don't know. It's just, it blows me away. The thing I did want to talk about, and by the way, you're listening to On Target Radio. This is AM560 The Answer. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. We're going to shift gears a little bit to the big thing, at least from my perspective, is our national security. Our warships are in ports. Obama has pulled back our military presence. Yeah. He's gutted the military. He's made them effeminate. The commanding officers of the military today, I'm not talking about company commanders. I'm talking about the Joint Chiefs, all those. They're all these feel-good liberal agenda guys because they're appointed by the president. But
well, right, they're politicians at this point,
yeah,
basically.
But the problem is we got soldiers and Marines and sailors out there putting their butt on the line,
right,
and they're not getting backed up. Benghazi being a classic example.
Right, and if you look at the American Sniper movie, they're asking for permission for every single shot.
Exactly,
it's ridiculous.
It makes no sense.
They have
at all.
literally like no latitude, no ability to make decisions in the field. It's beyond the beyond.
And you know the old saying about you reap what you sow. Mm-hmm. So liberals tend to say, well, we're imperialistic. We don't need all this military floating all over. So what's the net result of this? North Korea is threatening to drop a nuke on the United States. Mm-hmm. Prior to Obama, North Korea kept its mouth shut because North Korea would have been nuked. Okay? And now these people, these third world psychopaths are just threatening us. They're beheading people. We're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. The latest thing, did you see that they scrubbed the records?
Yes. Of the articles that you gave me, I found that one the most disturbing, actually. It was right before the underwear bomber struck. The administration forced a DHS to delete or modify several hundred records of individuals tied to designated Islamist terror groups. And basically, this is all being brought out. There's a whistleblower that's talking. And he's saying they scrubbed all these records by order of the administration. And then they were prohibited from updating with new information that they received.
And this isn't like Bob on the corner who got put on the list because he made one bad comment.
Right.
We got to take a break again, but we're going to be back with more on Target Radio. I want to pursue this a little bit more. And you're listening to AM560, The Answer.
How can you
take their name off the list?
Got the answer from the North States Steel Traffic Center.
Puerto Rico, Ed says, get Nick Ficarello back to tell Dave the Puerto Rico representative is a non-voting member of the U.S. House of Representatives.
It's representative.
Hey, crazy ass Bob on the corner is a fucking threat.
What?
Crazy ass Bob on the corner is a threat. I don't want to hear any bullshit about, Bob's harmless, that RPG's a prop. I don't care.
No, see, that explosion in his house, he was turning out crystal meth. That wasn't a terrorist thing.
Harmless.
It was his crystal meth lab.
Sounds harmless.
Yeah.
What is this?
I'd say somebody running a crystal meth lab in their house is probably a threat.
To the people around him, certainly.
Yes, that would constitute a threat.
And downwind.
I was going to say within like 100 yards.
Yeah, right.
Anyone who owns anything glass. Or steel, really.
Yeah.
The caustic
I'm
nature
so
of some
tired.
shit they use.
I can't think of words. Words I want to say.
My mom was.
I can think of words. They're just not what I'm intending to
Right,
say.
exactly. They're not the ones I want.
Down in Indiana.
But to my credit, I have not yet said they don't play croquet.
Two deputy sheriffs and a chief of police.
And I haven't let loose with an F word.
That's it. So I think we're ahead of the game.
Awesome.
Not very far ahead, but we're a
It's a
little
very
bit.
small place too. It's Greencastle, Indiana. So there's DePaul University, and then there's the other 25% of the town. She goes ahead and talks like this and then she goes down and she goes, yeah, so we got a big rider truck that they busted a rolling meth lab. Was driving around, and then there was another one in Winnebago. And I was talking there on the Sunday. I was talking to
La da dee, da 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 da.
because one was in a Suburban, it's pretty small. But there was smoke coming out, so we pulled it over. Yeah, that's first time in the game. There was state police bomb squad. And then, And he says, in the other ones, he goes, and then he started telling me about some of the different
Is he reading Maxon's? Is that what that is?
that are like commonly found in this.
Maxon's was.
This is stuff I wouldn't like store outside my house in a steel box.
Right, in a steel shed, 2 yards from your house.
Like with a
that.
rope.
Really? These people are standing 6 feet from it.
And they've got things next to each other on the porch. I'm like,
Somebody like really paid
the science class kid in me is just like, whoa, Mr. Wizard would not approve.
No, he would not.
Listen to the Heatwave Plumbing Radio Show this Saturday for answers to
Plumbing radio show.
Awesome! Plumbing help right now? Be the very first person to go to
Deals.com, fill out the radio discount request form, click submit, and get $129 worth of service for $39.95. That's radioplumbingdeals.com.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more On Target Radio. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. One of the things that disturbs me about this, not only has Obama scrubbed records and done all that kind of stuff, what he's trying to do is get these people into this country, if they're known terrorists, give them civil rights and put them through the legal system.
Yes.
Where, of course, they'll get some slick lawyer to...
Which goes hand in hand with what he's trying to do at Guantanamo.
Exactly.
You know,
he wants them here.
That they should have to go through the regular court system. No, they don't have. They're not Americans. They don't have rights.
Foreign people have more rights now than Americans do.
In some cases, yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, if you come, and I just love the term undocumented worker. That's just that's
highly euphemistic.
Yeah, really. How about criminals across the border? That would be one answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Criminals from elsewhere. Yes.
Yeah. Alien invasion. They can go to hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
They can go to college.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that like we have to pay for.
Right.
They don't.
Yeah.
Why?
Right.
Why is that?
Right. This whistleblower is saying that one of the things that he's saying is they claim since the Islamist groups in question were not specially designated terrorist organizations, tracking individuals related to those groups was a violation of the travelers' civil liberties. These were almost exclusively foreign nationals. When were they granted the civil rights and liberties of American citizens?
Well, now,
it's a valid question.
So here's where this is leading. I read yesterday or the day before that the Justice Department is bringing, I can't remember, they're bringing an action to court that you don't have to be a citizen to vote.
Yeah, they're trying.
Now, put that in perspective. Let anybody cross the border, give them free stuff. Who are you going to vote for?
Right. Democrats.
So they've been very clever doing this once. Oh, well, these are poor people coming into our country for a better life. Well, now all of a sudden it's, well, of course they should be able to vote, Mm-hmm. I didn't like George Carlin when he became anti-American because he was a very funny guy. And then he got, in the latter part of his life, he became very anti-American. And it really wasn't comedy. He did stand-up screaming. But I've gone back and listened to some of that stuff lately.
Sure. Screaming true, huh?
Oh, yeah. Now I'm beginning to see where he was at the time. We got Lewis on the phone who has a comment about national security. How you doing this evening, Lewis?
Pretty good, Dave. How yourself?
We're getting along okay. We're a little tired. It's been a long weekend. We had a big class. But what's up?
Well, I just want to comment. This national security is a big issue. People don't realize. I think it's got to be one of the most important because we're headed. I think, just my personal opinion, we're headed for a big war. I mean, I can see the war clouds out there on the horizon. But who do you want as your commander in chief? Hillary Clinton, who gave us Benghazi, the Arab Spring, and the Syrian Civil War, a proven failure. In other words, any of the Republicans is better to her. I mean, it's number one issue to me. I mean, it's big.
Lewis, I had a golden retriever that would be better than her.
Yeah, she's terrible. I mean, it's like putting up the white flag if you put Hillary Clinton in there.
No, really, you're right. It really is. And this country is, what's going to happen in the next 4 years is going to be very interesting.
Yeah. Could I make a comment on the earlier issue about the Supreme Court?
If I said no, would you still do it, wouldn't you?
Would you stop?
Well,
Go ahead.
Whatever you say. Is it okay?
No, of course.
Yeah.
We're
This
teasing
guy Gardner. You said he was the head of the criminal prosecution division
Under Clinton.
Yeah. Well, during the Clinton administration, there were no prosecutions of pornography during that time.
Or guns, for that matter.
Yeah, but
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, but the problem is they take a lot of money from the pornography industry, and they claim to be big friends of women. And it's this guy's terrible. I mean,
I have a quick-witted response to that, but all you're going to hear is beep if I make it. So
yeah.
it's not going to go over real big. But hey, I appreciate the call, Louis. Thank you very much.
All righty.
You have a nice evening. The whole national security thing is bad enough. Now we get into this privacy deal, and this truly blows me away. The federal government has now admitted that they are flying drones over the United States to monitor people. Is that not a major encroachment? Not only do they listen to our phone calls, not only do they capture our emails, now they're actually flying overhead and they're videoing us. Where exactly does this stuff go? Where is it going to? How is it going to end?
Well, I think we know. I mean, we've read the books, we've seen the movies. I think most of us know. And make me wear the foil hat if you want to, but I think we know.
Well, the one thing that this president has been extremely successful at doing is splintering every conceivable group from every other one. Mm-hmm. And I'm so tired. It started with Muslims. Every time I'd say something, I go, militant, radicals. I have friends, constantly. I have friends who are Muslims. They're as American as I am.
Yep.
And now it's blacks. They're pitting blacks. There was a debate, a college debate.
It's even blacks against blacks at this point.
Sure. But what I'm saying is now that there's this group in this college debate who are arguing that whites should be killed. I mean, not sort of this random stuff that we should all commit suicide. Right. On a college campus. Now, if it would have been a white group saying that against blacks, you know how that would have gone.
Yes, I do.
We've lost control of our own country. We're going to be back to wrap it up with a big piece of bacon, I think. I don't know. When we'll have more on Target Radio when we return. And you're listening to AM560 The Answer.
If you're looking for a better shooting experience, imagine shooting virtually all your firearms the same day.
So you're good. How much time you need?
I got like 2 minutes. I got nothing.
We had a call, but it never.
George is still on the phone.
Never went green.
Still chatting it up.
We never take calls in the last segment, so he'll probably just tell them. They probably won't.
Go pound sand.
Yeah.
Go pound sand.
Well, it's tough. Okay. Last one's 4 minutes. Well, four, almost 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's why we don't really do much in the last one.
I did like those couple of calls.
Like what?
Those were very good calls. All good calls tonight.
They were. It would have been nice if we were on our game.
Yeah.
But I'm like semi-comatose.
It would be nice if we could think of words. Yeah.
Yeah. If we could say something besides...
If we could think of words in response to our cogent callers, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that did not happen. Yeah, I wish... Well... Okay, I'm not going to say it.
Are we going to do it in English or what? How's it going to work?
No, because if I can't say what I was just thinking on the camera.
What?
That's a really bad idea.
What?
I just caught myself.
That's internet. You can say anything you want.
Remember I said Ed was saying, like, some of the stuff on the video would be used against me in future elections. Okay, if I said what I was just thinking, it definitely
John
was.
from Creed says hi.
Oh, that was John from Creed.
Is that who it was?
Oh, gosh darn it.
Yep.
Why did he wait until the last segment? He knows,
I don't know, but I told him he
better.
couldn't get on to the last segment. So.
He knows better.
He knows the show as well as we do.
Exactly.
Well, he probably forgot to wind his clocks.
Yeah, I think he has one of these in his house.
5 seconds. 5 seconds.
5 seconds?
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more On Target Radio. I just want to wrap this up before we get to your to the action items. The U.S. has admitted that they're flying drones over the country, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now the Russians want to fly drones over our country.
Well, Hillary already gave them like tons of top secret intelligence. So, why not?
Apparently, we signed something at some point that gives them the right to fly surveillance over the United States.
We did not.
Yeah. And unfortunately,
wasn't that in the 50s?
We don't. This is like a trailer, okay, for a movie because we don't have any more time to discuss this. So you got to come back next week.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, right. And next week we'll go. What are you talking about? I don't know.
They erased my mind.
Yeah, but when you get to the point where you allow the Russians to fly over your country for surveillance.
Well, as we have said many times, at this point, I like Putin more than I like our own president. So,
I don't know if I like him, but I admire him.
Right. I respect him.
Yeah, I've got respect for the guy. He loves his country, and
he commands more respect than Obama.
That's it, yeah. Although, bare-chested on a horse, I don't know.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
Illinois Gun Owners Lobby Day is Wednesday, April 6th. Join us in Springfield to protect your Second Amendment rights. Let the politicians know where you stand by marching with thousands of other gun owners to the Illinois State Capitol. If you see me and my mom, say hi. The bus reservation page has been posted on the ISRA website, isra.org. I put the link on Facebook yesterday. The women's holster class that I teach has gone to a girls' night-in format only. The class addresses firearm selection, rationale for female-specific holsters, demonstration of about 9 holsters, and plenty of time to try on holsters and discuss concealed carry. If you would like to schedule a fun, informative get-together for 4 or more women, contact me or David directly by email, phone, or Facebook. There are a couple of spots left in my April 9th party in the Plainfield-Romeoville Crest Hill area. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman. Sunday, April 10th, Tactical Pistol 1 and 2, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, April 16th and 17th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. Sunday, April 17th, Concealed Carry Live Fire 1 and 2, taught by Eric. Also, Sunday, April 17th, Long Range Rifle, taught by Ed Janka. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on register.
And are we doing a segment 6 tonight?
We do have segment 6 tonight. We're going to be discussing the ever-diminishing right to privacy.
So we are going to continue that.
We are. Make sure to head over to our YouTube channel, On Target Radio, right after the show.
There we go. So we are going to pursue this privacy thing.
Yes.
And that's
good. It's a big issue.
It's my opinion. It's a bee in my bonnet, even though I have no idea what that really means. It
means it's bothering you.
Bothers me too, yeah. Okay. We sort of apologize for this evening because we were a little slow.
We're both a little strung out.
Yeah, it's been a long weekend. But anyway, we'll be back next week and we'll be all fired up. But do stay tuned for segment 6 because I want to talk about the privacy thing. And we'd like to thank you for listening to On Target Radio. And be sure to give us a listen next week when Gretchen and I will be discussing more red meat issues that affect your life.
We'd also like to thank George Hoffman on the board. And happy birthday, George. Jim Ekstrand, our announcer, and our sponsor, Schrank Smoke and Gun, the Illinois State Rifle Association, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
You can't sing happy birthday on the radio, can you, without paying?
No, you really can't.
You can now, actually. They knocked down their copyright claim.
Did you really? Well, sorry, George, too late.
Music's playing.
Happy birthday anyway, though. It's a nice thing. And as always, I do want to thank Mike for making all this whole thing come together.